Hello and welcome to another edition of QB1 with talented quarterback expert Crissy Froyd, and she's here to talk LSU signal caller Jayden Daniels. So, Crissy, what did Daniels show during his 3 seasons at Arizona State?
I think he showed a lot of different things, but the thing that stuck out to me the most was the fact that this was a player that we kind of looked at for a while and noticed that he wasn't getting to the end zone through the air a lot. And then there became the question of, well, maybe it's just the way that the offense is run. Maybe there's something going on where he's just scoring with his legs, and that's something that'll change throughout the season. But then as the season progressed, we kind of noticed that he was having trouble getting to the end zone through the air and was having trouble as a passer overall. So this is a player that I think really can do a lot from an athletic standpoint, but I do think that he needs some more development as a passer. And I really don't think that he's going to really be able to step in and be the guy for LSU from day one, unless there's some type of a rotating quarterback system, which I could see a world where maybe there's a rotating quarterback system. Maybe there are some packages in there for Daniels, but perhaps this is not one of those instances where you have a transfer and they transfer and they're instantly the starter.
Talk to me a little bit more about kind of what you mentioned, what he might be able to do early, considering this transfer. How might he fit in with this LSU offense, during the season, maybe early and maybe later? Like dive even more into that, the way they could use him.
Yeah, well, I think that they have players who are a lot better passers, who are a lot more experienced with this team around them, like Miles Brennan does. So I think when I look at Brian Kelly's comments that he's made about these quarterbacks, he seems to have been the most complimentary of Walker Howard and Garrett Nussmeier to this point. And so I think those are some guys we should look at as like the actual future for LSU. But I think that we're not going to see Daniels totally neglected. I think that he came here for a reason. I do think that he does have a certain amount of talent, but he's going to be a player that they either rotate in and out from time to time, or that maybe there are some specifically designed things that he can do in his own right. So I think that maybe we see him introduced a little bit at the beginning of the season, and maybe that role evolves, even though it's probably in LSU's best interest to choose one quarterback and go ahead with that.
And following up on kind of what you mentioned there, based on your expertise and knowing the team and knowing the players, is there a feeling, as a transfer, he will ultimately be the starter for LSU in 2022? Or maybe big picture is he may be kind of the guy in 2023?
Honestly, when I look at how stacked LSU's quarterback room has become and the traits that each of those guys bring to the table, I honestly don't see a world where Jayden Daniels is ever the starter for LSU. And I think that perhaps the ceiling is a rotating quarterback system as far as him seeing playing time. But I do think that there's a decent chance that he's a quarterback that just kind of mixed in for certain packages. Now, there is some potential there, and it's going to depend on, the change of scenery. Some quarterbacks go into a new team and they do really well. They fit into the system a lot better than they fit into the old system. So unless he experiences some type of rise and makes some strides as a passer, I think that that's about as good as it gets for him, although we're going to have to see how things shake out in fall camp.
Talk to me about him rising as a passer. This is a big season for him. Where does he need to really get better if he wants to get this starter job long term in the future? And how can the coaching staff at LSU help him get to reach that potential to be better than he is right now?
Yeah, I think it just comes down to the decision making and the overall accuracy, and then just pushing the ball down the field and getting it to the end zone. I think that we're going to want to see a lot more passing touchdowns from Jayden Daniels on a consistent basis, that he shows that he can do that. Like I said earlier, that was a question, and it seemed to be answered in really a negative way for him at the end of the season at Arizona State, looking back at it.